Pokémon is a beloved franchise which has been going for over 20 years, and the main reason why it has continued to be so successful is because of the fans' love of the ever-growing cast of Pokémon to adore. As Nintendo has been at the spearfront of gaming technology since 1983, Pokémon has evolved with it, and this evolution has heavily influenced the design of these beloved monsters. So let's take a look back at how technology has influenced Pokémon designs through each generation of Pokémon through the main series games. Generation 1 came out in 1998 to 1999 with red, blue and yellow. Brought to you by the Game Boy, it was one of the first of its kind and credited to popularizing the handheld console. Gen 1 has the famous original 151 Pokémon, and looking over the Pokémon of this generation, you can see some obvious design trends throughout. While multiple factors influenced this, including the small design team and the JRPG influence, a large factor was the limitations caused by the hardware. The Game Boy had a 160 by 144 resolution and a variety of 4 grayscale colors which could be displayed simultaneously. This meant it wasn't practical to design Pokémon with large color palettes or complicated designs. Furthermore, these Pokémon needed to rely on contrast to help them be recognizable. Let's look at the star of the show, Pikachu. To create contrast, he has 2 darker stripes on his back and a round white spot on his belly. This round spot became a common design choice for Gen 1, as seen in other Pokémon such as Poliwag's Whole Evolution, Wigglytuff, Lapras, and Snorlax. In the next few years, the Game Boy would evolve into the Game Boy Color, and with it came Generation 2, Pokémon Gold and Silver in 1999 and Crystal in 2001. The Game Boy Color had the same resolution as its younger brother, but it could display 56 colors simultaneously from its palette choice of 32,000 displayable colors. This meant while the sprite size or complexity didn't change, the design team had a lot more freedom with color. While the Game Boy Color was capable of displaying color, it was still limited. Each sprite was limited to 4 colors, one of which would have to be transparent for the background. Despite these limitations, the glimpse of color into the Pokemon world gave us more contemporary, vibrant colors as seen in Pokemon such as Ariados, Togepi, Xatu, and Ho-Oh. Generation 3 came out on the Game Boy Advance with Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire in 2002 and Emerald in 2004. The Game Boy Advance removed any limitations regarding color, being able to display 32,000 colors simultaneously in bitmap mode and 511 colors simultaneously in character mode. The resolution also got an upgrade from 160 by 144 to 240 by 160. This allowed for more complex and colorful designs. A great example of Nintendo showing off these colors is in Beauty Flight, which has 5 major colors, while it was rare to see Pokemon in this game which had 4 major colors. Now it's time to move on from the Game Boy family and make way for the new kid on the block, the DS, which would be home of the Pokemon for the next 4 generations. Generation 4 debuted in Diamond and Pearl in 2006 and Platinum in 2008. This generation has a small pool of new Pokemon, but it was clear the designers were loving the freedom the new DS granted, with an upgraded resolution from the previous 240 by 160 to 256 by 192 on both screens. Sprite sizes also increased to 80 by 80. It can also display 262,144 colors simultaneously, 8 times as much as the Game Boy Advance. This allowed for more detailed designs and made having 4 major colors in design common, even in Pokemon which didn't appear to be that colorful like Staraptor. Generations 5 Black and White from 2011 presented a new challenge, as it was the first games to be made on the same console as its predecessor. However, there is still a difference, with the sprite size increasing from 80 by 80 to 96 by 96. The most notable things about Black and White are the strange Pokemon designs and the continuously animated sprites. This continuous animation allowed for experimentation with designs such as Klinklang with its moving gears, Reniculus being transparent, and reinforcing personalities within the Pokemon's design, such as Scrafty's pants always falling down. Generation 6 made the big leap from 2D sprites to 3D, with Pokemon X and Y in 2013 on the 3DS. Although this generation only introduces 72 new Pokemon, the lowest amount for any game, the design trends which the 3D models introduced are clear. Pokemon have been made less saturated than previous iterations, as seen with Charizard, and most Pokemon have been rounded out. The only new design which is directly influenced by the hardware can be seen with Inky and Malamar. You evolve Inky at level 30 into Malamar, but only when the DS is upside down. This is possible due to the console's gyroscope. Generation 7 Sun and Moon from 2016 followed the trend of adding very few Pokémon. This and the fact it's released in the same hardware as X and Y mean there aren't many technological changes. There are a few noteworthy design choices such as the introduction of region-based Pokémon, which have been seen in every game since, and Ultra Beasts, but neither of these are related to the hardware of the 3DS. Generation 8 Sword and Shield from 2019 bring us to a new console, the Nintendo Switch, the ultimate combo of handheld and home console. While the resolution on your TV will vary, it has a video output of 1080p via HDMI, and handheld mode it has a resolution of 1280 by 72. The 3D sprites are higher definition than their DS counterparts, though any new Pokémon would harken back to Generation 1 with simpler color palettes. 3D Pokémon sprites have allowed for more personality and dimension in designs with Pokémon themselves. This can be seen with Pokémon with Phalanx, which shows multiple of them, Wooloo rolling around, and Mr. Rhyme's Little Dance. Overall, it is evident to anyone that the evolving technology and hardware of Pokémon games have influenced Pokémon's designs, especially in the early years. In recent years, technology's influence has plateaued, but we can always hope for more in the upcoming games, Pokémon Scarlet and Violet, coming out later this year.